Oh, yeah. Okay, we will call regular council meeting to order for Tuesday, November 12th, 2024. As we gather, we are reminded that the town of Bonnyville is situated on Treaty 6 land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history and is the traditional homeland and home to First Nation and Métis people today. We respect the histories, languages, and cultures of First Nation, Métis, and all First People of Canada whose presence continues to enrich our community. All right, before us we have an agenda. Were there any additions or deletions?
Nothing from administration, Your Worship.
Thank you. Motion to approve the agenda as presented, please.
I will move adoption of the agenda as presented, Madam Mayor.
All in favor? Carried. All right, next we've got meeting minutes from the organizational council meeting from October 22nd, 2024. If there's no changes to those minutes, we'll look for a motion to approve, please. Councillor Johnson?
I'll make the motion to adopt the minutes as presented for the organizational meeting.
All in favor? Carried. Next, we have the council meeting minutes from October 22nd, 2024. Any changes? Councillor Sharon?
I'll move the council meeting minutes dated October 22nd, 2024 as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, a couple delegations this evening. First up, FCSS budget delegation. Hi, Rhonda. Welcome. Join us at the front. Can you please make sure your mic's turned on? And I'll let you do the presentation and then we'll leave room for questions after. Okay.
Sounds perfect. Okay, so as you guys can see on the screen in front of you, we've done up a presentation just to kind of give you some insight on what we've done this year and what our plans are for the following year, in addition to what the budget's going to look like for 2025. So, perfect, next slide. So you guys are aware that this budget was reviewed by the FCSS Advisory Board and a motion was passed at the October 2024 Advisory Board meeting recommending approval of the preliminary budget in principle. So that's what we're going to go through. So our FCSS conditional funding is a partnership between the town, the MD, and the province. So for the MD portion, it is based on the population wards of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that is the breakdown of the funding for FCSS's, the FCSS. So here is all of our revenues in addition to the provincial funding. So we get 52,832 from other operating. So that is other programs that we run under community services, and that will be administrative costs that come to FCSS for administering the other contracts. And then other grants, we do have grants with other agencies such as Age-Friendly Cold Lake currently, but next year that will probably be with Healthy Aging Alberta instead. We'll get a grant directly from them instead of through Age-Friendly Cold Lake. And then miscellaneous income is just small grants, and then we do have a small program revenue of $7,500, which comes from Grandma's House and our senior support program. So that is where our revenues come from. Expenditures. So as you can see, our largest expenditure is on labor, so that's staffing. And this is just FCSS staff. This is not staff from the other contracts that we have under the community services umbrella. So currently we have 6 staff at FCSS. And then money goes into training, promotions, administration, operations of the building, program costs, and then we do give out grants to other agencies or non-for-profits. So in addition to FCSS, we also have Lakeland Family Resource Network. We do have the hub and spoke in our community. So the hub looks after the Family Resource Network for the spokes in Cold Lake, Bonnyville, St. Paul, and as well Native Counseling Services has a spoke program that covers the whole region. So we have the hub, which is Referrals do go into the hub, and then she sends the referrals out to the different spokes. And we also have a full-time spoke person who does caregiver capacity building in our community. And then we do have a contract with Lakeland Roman Catholic School District, and we have a full-time mental wellness facilitator who goes into the schools and does presentations, and she also does parenting and family events in the evening for the whole community. So that currently is our community services department. So just to give you guys some insight into what we did in 2024, we had 623 volunteer hours, which is Meals on Wheels drivers, volunteers for our clothing exchange, and practicum students. We had 380 clients access the clothing exchange, 512 volunteer income tax were done for participants in our community. We did a newcomers week, and we had 130 participants. The vast majority were newcomers to the community, or to Canada, actually. We do a home support program for seniors, and so since the inception of the program in 2022, we've had 750 direct client hours, and we hope to expand that this year. And this year, we also initiated a men's mental health project, and so far we've had 119 participants. That includes monthly drop-ins, and we do a car show and shine as well that we had people participate in. Family Resource Network. So again, like I said, we do caregiver capacity building. So we've had 86 unique clients to the spoke, so that is the parenting caregiver capacity. She does a baby group. She also does an ADHD coffee chat for parents who have children diagnosed with ADHD. And she did a You're a Great Dad workshop. And the hub had 64 referrals from the community for her to then try and navigate resources for. Okay. And then the upcoming programming that we have planned, you will see actually starting tomorrow, we're kicking off our Acts of Random Kindness. We will be doing a monthly activity partnering with community agencies and non-for-profits. So tomorrow you're going to see the staff and staff from Lakeland Center for FASD handing out hot chocolate packages with information on FCSS in the community. And then next month we'll be partnering with the schools and creating Christmas ornaments to be given out to seniors. So once a month we will be partnering with a different agency and doing a Acts of Random Kindness. In addition, we plan on starting family connection nights on Thursday, or I say Thursday nights, I don't know the night yet, but the end of January, where we want to do parent and youth activities for 12 and up to try and encourage and increase parent-child communication in that age, because we find that's when it tends to drop off. And we want to do some rural mental health projects. So the first one up is December 7th at 1 at the Glendon Hall. We have it's a suicide prevention group that specializes in agriculture. They'll be coming in and doing a How Are You Really community workshop. And then we will be doing Building Community Connections, which we are basing it on the third place theory, which if you know community development, it's everybody has three places that they are attached to. So there's work, family, and usually a third place in the community that keeps them connected because we want to build community. So we are going to start compiling all the groups in the community that adults who are new to Bonnyville may want to take interest in and join to build a sense of roots and connection to the community. So that is FCSS right now.
Are there any questions on this presentation?
Just when you were talking about the funding and the funding coming from the town and the MD, wards 1, 2, 3, and 4, do you know the population in those wards? Because I believe it is a per capita funding split.
It is. Yes, and I don't know off the top of my head the population of those wards, but I think on average we say about 15,000.
So the services, we're serving roughly 15,000 of the MD's population out of Bonnyville, and the balance would be out of Cold Lake?
Cold Lake, yeah.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Councilor Blanchett?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for the presentation. Can you touch on the social needs assessment that we are in the process of conducting, please?
So you're going to notice changes. The FCSS provincially is changing their framework, and how they want us to kind of model our programming. And one of them, I'm going to say mandates coming down, is they want us to be able to prove that there's needs for the programs that we're doing. And one of the ways for us to do that effectively is to have a needs assessment. So because of staffing, there was a shortage of, or we didn't have staff last year, so we had a surplus. So we're taking some of that surplus dollars, and we are going to fund a needs assessment for the town and our part of the MD to help us determine what future programming we should be looking at doing.
Excellent. Any other questions? Councillor Schroen?
Yes, thank you for the presentation. On the Meals on Wheels program, how many clients do we have, and are we in need of drivers?
All good questions. Yes, we have about 8 participants right now. So for those that are unaware, we did switch from the hospital to the lodge. The lodge is now who provides the meals for the Meals on Wheels program. And we are looking for drivers because we have just kind of, in the last month, got it up and going with the lodge. And so you will see more promotions to try and get more people onto the program. And then, of course, we need drivers to drive Monday through Friday at lunchtime.
Okay, great. I have some volunteers lined up for you.
Perfect.
The other question I had was on the healthy aging. I think this is an excellent program to keep our seniors longer in their homes. Are we at a plateau now, or is there a greater need for extending the program, and or are we able to staff for the needs that we have currently?
So we always have a waiting list for that program. And hopefully with a partnership and funding from Healthy Aging, we will increase our capacity, and so we'll increase the number. So I'll have a better answer for you once we increase and hopefully get everybody off the waiting list, and then see if we have more people that are trying to enroll in the program and continue a waiting list.
Thanks, and I look forward to the update.
Any other questions? Rhonda, I have just a couple questions in regards to the expenditures. The cost for labor, that number, does that include, is it strictly wages, or does that include benefits and any of the other?
That is wages and benefits.
Wages and benefits, okay, okay. And then my last question is in regards to the grants, 15,000, right?
Well, that's what we give out to, like, for block
Yeah.
parties, volunteer, yeah.
Yeah. Was it all given out last year? Was it all used, or do you find that we have money that's rolling over, or just out of curiosity how that's doing?
I will say it's been used a lot less than it has in the past, and I would also say that that number has been significantly reduced from what it has been in the past. So we're hoping through promotions we might get more usage of that program.
Okay, all right, great, good, thank you. If there's no other questions, all right, thanks for your
Perfect,
time
thank
this
you,
evening.
guys. Thank you.
All right, next, our quarterly report from CPO Wanda Tom. Yeah, good evening, welcome. So I'll give you the floor for the presentation, and then we'll do questions and
Okay.
comments after.
Okay. So this is my quarterly report, the information and stats pulled from mid-November 2023, when I would have done my last report. So those will be in here, just a little portion of last year. Calls for service and complaints, 732 files created. I should put my glasses on, sorry. 732 files created based on complaints or proactive patrols, unsightly properties being the highest occurrence at 175. The second highest being animal control at 151, and one of the lower calls for service being fire at 8, although transportation of dangerous goods and liquor, gaming, and cannabis act was low as well. Since 2022, we have seen over 1,900 files cross the CPO desk. This year alone, to date, we are at 732, plus the majority being unsightly and animal control, as I mentioned, and traffic matters. I just ran the stats again today, and since I did this report, it was 762 files. Complaint stats per bylaw offense: animal control bylaw 151, traffic bylaw 79, unsightly property bylaw 175, garbage bylaw 54, noise bylaw 13, other traffic safety 106, Fire bylaw 8, transportation of dangerous good 1. And then on the second page there, just a number for petty trespass, 48, miscellaneous, 44, gaming and liquor cannabis, 7, motor vehicle collision, 4, business licensing issues, 2, criminal code, assist public and request for assistance, 33, and found property to be 7. Some animal control investigations, important to note. Dog found deceased by being exposed to the sun and the heat. RCMP and Alberta SPCA got involved as well. Just some dogs that were found, with a dog found with old scars and wounds. One dog was surrendered by his owners. We had an incident where pigeons were living in the roof of a house. Pigeons are prohibited in the prohibited animal in Bonnyville. 2 cats found deceased, and I pick them up and take them to the veterinarian so they can dispose of them properly. 2 aggressive dogs that have now been deemed restricted, and several dogs picked up at large, and some not claimed by their owners. This is just a funny story. Medusa, so I've picked her up a couple times this summer. She and I made friends, as you can tell, and she refused to go in the back. So we drove to the SPCA just like that, actually. We also had deployed our portable speed signs. They were in various locations, first starting 47th Ave, 45 Ave, and Lakeshore Drive by the Splash Park. They were moved to 46th Street, and the third one remained at the Splash Park. And then Public Works worked with me today to get those pulled in for the winter so we wouldn't have any damages. Tickets and warnings issued. 127, but as of today, 134. Numerous verbal warnings and letters issued. As we all know, I like education first. So, and there's a lot of time spent on bylaw complaints, and so traffic time is sometimes limited. But I did get school bus vehicles passing school buses with the lights flashing, cell phone speeding, no licenses, etc. Community involvement. June, I did the bike rodeo at the Hannah Center. I went to the blanket ceremony, ice cream, vouchers for kids, truth and reconciliation procession, Halloween safety and reading to the kids at the Ohana Center, Christmas and July 1st parades, FCSS back to school clothing drive, and we'll be doing some Wednesday afternoon library crafting and reading with the kids. And as well, I forgot to put that in there, but positive ticketing. And this is just a sample of the Ohana Center Halloween safety event, the goodie bag that was put together for the kids, and the book that I purchased to read to them. It was all about Halloween safety with Lola. And it seemed like it went over really well. They were super happy. And at the end, they were able to get their pictures taken with me if they wanted. The next was the coloring contest, second year that I've done this. Ages 3 to 12, we had 3 winners announced. They had their photo taken and their coloring, with their coloring page and their prize. Best coloring, most creative, and best imagination. Each winner received $10 in Dairy Queen gift cards, coloring pencils, markers, crayons, and a large sketchbook. And on September 29th, this is my 3rd year in a row that I led the Truth and Reconciliation procession with the Town of Bonnyville patrol truck. Corita usually drives with me, and I always feel very proud and honored to be part of that, and I learn lots about their history along the way. And sorry, I guess this slide is probably out of place, but that was me reading at the Ohana Center to the kids. It was cute. Social media posts, I'm still posting on social media as well as doing Lakeland Connect videos regarding bylaws and other important matters to get out to the public for education. Also, the local newspaper does talk to me from time to time. the new crest that we incorporated into with the new town logo. So that would be on the patrol truck and on my uniform, as well as the challenge coin that was developed with lots of help from Dan and Dustin. Some have made it as far as Halifax to other organizations, and they've had really good feedback from that. Next slide is the Halloween treat bags. Doreen helped me fill 200 plus of these one day, and we added them to the RCMP Halloween pumpkins that they were doing for Halloween night. Also took part in Remembrance Day service at Duclos on November 8th. Myself and a constable from the RCMP both laid wreaths for that event. On-site property cleanup. You'll find before and after photos of the cleanup that occurred in July. Property had numerous complaints over 2.5 years. A great response from the neighbors and community about this cleanup. So if you go through, you'll see the before and after photos. Our homelessness and squatter issues, I mean, compared to other places, I don't think it's quite as bad, but we did have some issues where there were squatters and homelessness happening in structures that were found. There's a couple pictures. These were both on town-owned property and fall under the Petty Trespass Act. The structure that was in the trees is east of town was an ongoing issue for both myself and the RCMP. Neither one of those currently exist. And a picture of the challenge coins. Obviously, I think you all received one. Between Dan, Dustin, and myself, we created this coin, which we have had great feedback on, like I said prior. Certainly something that we are proud of. Solicitor General and Peace Officer update. We had a general audit of the CPO program. It's routine to happen at least every 3 to 5 years. Comment, you'll see the comment that was made, and so I think Dan and I were pretty proud of that. I'm currently enrolled in a Dalhousie University Distance Ed for Police Supervisory Certificate course, continuing on my social media and education and proactive work, and continue to build on the CPO program for the town of Bonnyville.
Excellent, thank you so much. What a great presentation. I will open it up to council for questions or comments. Councillor Johnson?
Through to Officer Tom, through the chair. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Thank you very much for your presentation. Just have a couple of questions and one comment for you. For the animal control with the 151 that you've had so far, we've been approached by the SPCA to sponsor a chip program. And if you had a chip reader in your vehicle, does that help? Would that help cut down on that number? Would that help your workload?
Well, it just depends. They'd have to be chipped.
That's true.
And the dog could still be at large, so I'm still investigating it. The only thing that it would do is allow me not to overburden the SPCA with a dog. If I could identify where it belongs, I can take it home. So it cuts back on the workload somewhat, and it also helps them as well.
Okay. And with your over 700 files, I assume, are you at max capacity right now with what you can handle?
I'm pretty busy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty busy, yeah.
Okay. And just one comment for you. The Ohana Center, about your Halloween reading and being over there, they were absolutely thrilled to have you. The kids absolutely loved you, and they said to say thank you again, and it was a fantastic event and well received, so thank you for representing us like that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Krishner?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Through the chair to Officer Tom. Just wanted to say kudos on your audit by this Solicitor General. I know I'm on the community policing, and I know that your boss was saying great things about that. Solicitor General has not seen anybody do it, especially a one-person crew. So kudos to you. You're doing a great job, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McAvoy?
Well, thank you. And just, you mentioned earlier about pigeons and
Yes.
that they're prohibited animals in town.
Yes.
Were these domesticated pigeons that you found, or were these wild pigeons?
They were wild, but they were living in someone's roof. Some of his, I'm not a carpenter, but you know, the soffit or the, they were living in the eaves of the house, and he just didn't bother to close it off, so they were nesting in there, and so we had to remind him.
Remind him that.
Yes, and he did. He closed it up, so.
Thank you.
Very interesting. Any other questions, comments? Thank you. I guess I don't need to say, repeat how busy you are with all the calls that you've had this year. And then all the community service that you do is absolutely outstanding. I really like your philosophy, which is on the challenge coin of education before enforcement. I think it's a really great philosophy. You do, and I see all the posts and, in the paper, and I think you're doing an amazing job. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay. Okay, so moving along, we've got a bylaw for the land use bylaw amendment. Who's taking care of this one? Oh, hi, Dan.
Madam Mayor, before you, we have an amendment to the land use bylaw, some adjustments to the setbacks required for garages for two particular purposes. One, to be able to make use of the smaller lot sizes, and two, by adjusting the side yard setback, allows a garage in somebody's backyard to be used as an accessory suite.
Okay, so we're looking for first reading tonight.
Yes, so we are recommending that first reading be applied to Land Use Amendment Bylaw 157924 and direct administration to advertise and set the public hearing for December 10th, 2024.
Thank you. Any questions for administration on this bylaw amendment? Councillor Kushner?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through to Mr. Haney. So on page 78 in our package, I don't know where it's at for you. I think it's 3E1 or 3EI. So it's saying that it's 3 meters in laneless subdivision and a minimum of 2.1 meters in a lane subdivision. Earlier on, you were bringing that down to 1 meter. Can you explain what the difference is here? Am I missing something?
In this bylaw, you mean?
Yes, in this bylaw.
Or to one meter, and then this one here is 2.1?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, page 78 at the bottom.
And then earlier it was 1. So I'm a little confused. Maybe it's a different part of it, but I don't quite understand. That's why I'm just looking for clarity.
Right, so the original change from the 1 meter was previously a side yard setback.
Okay?
That was increased to 1.5 meters. And that piece is in particular to be able to build an accessory suite on top of a garage.
Okay?
And then the other changes in the 1.5 and or the 6 depends on the orientation of the garage. Where previously we were essentially enforcing that somebody have a parking stall behind their garage if the doors were to face the laneway. And now we're giving the ability to move that within 1.5 meters of the lane with the assumption that there's no parking behind the garage, they were just driving into the garage.
So, yeah. I saw it earlier, forgive me, there was 1 meter setback to the back alley as long as you had a back alley. And now it's, in this one, it says 2.1 meters in a lane subdivision. Lane, I'm assuming, is the back alley, is that correct?
Okay, so the 3 meters and the 2.1 where you're pointing out it's under E,
Yeah.
garages and carports, so that wasn't a change. That was previously there.
Yes, no, I understand that, but the change, I thought I saw this change in here that it was going down to 1 meter on those back lanes,
1.5.
1.5, okay. So then we're still at, why is it 2.1 in EI on that one? Know what I'm saying?
Nope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's just, need some clarification on that, and that needs to be changed one way or the other, I think.
Which one? This one here, this 2.1 needs to be changed?
Yes, to the 1.5 that we're supposed to be going to, correct?
Carports, shall
Yeah, they should be the same.
Okay, well, maybe we'll let
Thank
you take that away and
Yep.
take a look at it and make sure that
Thank you.
all, yeah, if that is okay with you. Okay. Any other questions? Councillor Sharoon?
Yes, through to administration, just a point of clarity. Under the telecommunication structures, that is not changed. That's what we've always done, is notified residents within a 600-meter area of the tower. That is on page 69, 6D.
That's correct. That was previously there, so no changes on that.
Okay, and we follow that rule. Thank you.
Okay, good. Any other questions on the amendments? No? I'll give you first reading if you want. Okay, we're good? Yeah, looks like it. Okay, so Councillor McAvoy is going to give us first reading.
Let me find the wording here. Yeah, there it is. I will move, I will move first reading of Land Use Amendment Bylaw number 1579-24 and direct administration to advertise and set the public hearing date for December 10th, 2024.
Okay, thank you. Are you good, Bill? Are we okay?
Oh, yes, no, sorry, Your Worship.
Okay.
I realized I made a hand gesture that might have been interpreted as, but no.
You would have bought something if this was an auction. Gotta be careful with those.
Yeah, another cow, right?
All right, so a motion on the floor for first reading. All in favor? Carried. Okay, next bylaw, Build Bonnyville, New Housing Incentive Grant Bylaw for second and third reading.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At the October 8th regular council meeting, bylaw number 1578-24, the Build Bonnyville New Housing Incentive Grant Bylaw received first reading. It was then forwarded to our legal counsel for further review. This draft of the bylaw includes amendments based on council discussion from that meeting and the legal review that we obtained. The amendments include modifications to Section 3 in the definitions, a modification to Section 4 to be the term of the grant. The term now expires December 31st, 2025, and the funding maximizes at $500,000 per year, and this program would be reviewed annually. Section 5 criteria is now divided into qualifying criteria for the applicant and qualifying criteria for the property to assist with further clarity. Section 6 has been updated to include additional wording to give greater guidance on the process for applying and it's submitting the application and the town's response to the applications. Section 7 has been updated as well, and that's to provide greater guidance on the process the town will follow in reviewing the applications. Section 8 incorporates additional timelines to help limit the risk of the town paying out an amount of the amount of grant funding and a house not being completed. Section 9 has been changed from an appeal mechanism to provide for a council review. Section 10 has been revised to ensure that a registered owner can only receive grant funding if they meet the qualifications of an applicant under the bylaw. Section 11 was removed as the town cannot amend fees in a bylaw by resolution. The draft agreements that formed part of this bylaw have also been removed as schedules of the bylaw in case the town wishes to amend the agreement without having to amend the bylaw. And there are other minor changes that ensure consistency throughout the bylaw and areas where provisions of the bylaw are already covered by the MGA. Administration is recommending that council provide second and third reading to bylaw number 1578-24.
All right, thanks, Renee. Any questions or comments for administration? Councillor Schroen?
Yes, I have a couple through to administration. I really like the tagline, Build Bonnyville New Housing Incentive. I think that's pretty catchy. On page 92, 4.1, what is the effective date? It says the town shall consider applications for a grant, and it says until December 31st. But what would be the effective date on that?
This would be effective as of third reading.
As of third reading, okay, thank you. Then on page 93, the town may provide different conditions. What does different conditions mean? That's under 6.2.
That could be, sorry, I got to read this section.
The town may.
So that would be for a developer, for example, may have different conditions than somebody actually building the house to live in. So if you're building the house to sell it, you may have certain conditions, but if you're building it to live in it, there is, the agreements stipulate what conditions you must follow.
Okay, and last but not least question here, item number 8 on page 93, 94, the actual payment incentive. So when a resident is building a house for them, the $25,000 is split up into 3 different categories: the foundation, the walls, and then the final move-in. However, if you're a developer, you get a $25,000 grant right when the foundation is built. What is the rationale for that, and not having it for when the foundation is built, maybe half, and then when the stick is set up, another half of that, and then I can understand it may sit on the market for a while, so we don't want to hold them penalty to that. So why wasn't it split up between the stick-built and the foundation?
With the single-family dwellings that are being built to sell and not live in, they have different criteria that they can use the money for. And it would be up to $25,000, and those are included in the agreement, which would be builders, let me find that because I don't remember all 7, but I know it could be for garage packages, it could be for builder mortgage reduction, furnishings, and that would be disclosed to the CAO when the agreement's being done.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions, comments? No? Okay. I'm really happy that we took our time and that we were able to at least get some legal counsel. I think it puts me a little bit more at ease, and I think going forward, I know I spoke with administration, and maybe that's something that we'll do right off the hop, but I appreciate all the work that you guys have done on this. And I think we're ready for second and third reading. Who wants to do second reading? Councillor Johnson?
I'll provide second reading of bylaw number 1578-24, Bill Bonnyville, new housing incentive grant bylaw.
All in favor? That's carried, and we're looking for third reading, please. Councillor Schroen?
I will move the third reading for bylaw number 1578-24, Build Bonnyville New Housing Incentive Grant.
All right, thank you. All in favor? All right, so that bylaw is carried. Okay. Yes. All right, so we next have a request for a letter of support from the Bonnyville FCSS Healthy Aging Alberta Home Support Grant.
So I can speak to that, Your Worship. Bonnyville FCSS is seeking funding from the Healthy Aging Alberta Home Support Grant to sustain and enhance its home support program, which offers services for seniors within the town and MD of Bonnyville. By assisting seniors with tasks such as household cleaning, for example, FCSS enables many of our residents to continue to live independently in their homes. Grant funding until March 2027. If successful, would allow the FCSS to continue offering these essential services. And our recommendation to council is that you approve the issuance of a letter of support to Bonnyville FCSS to accompany their application for the Healthy Aging Alberta Home Support Grant.
Thank you. Any questions on the request? No, all right, we're looking for a motion then. Councillor Blanchett?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will move that council approve the issuance of a letter of support for Bonnyville FCSS to accompany their application to the Healthy Aging Alberta Home Support Grant, providing funding support until March 2027.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. All right, next, okay, ratifying a letter of support for Kids Sport Bonnyville.
Thank you, Your Worship. So as council's aware, Kids Sport Bonnyville is a local chapter of the provincial organization dedicated to assisting families in financial need by covering the costs of sports registration fees. To continue to expand its services, Kids Sport is applying for additional grant funding. The organization had requested a letter of support from the town of Bonnyville to strengthen their application and highlight their impact on their programs. And due to time constraints, that letter has previously been issued, and we're asking the council ratify the letter of support that was provided to Kids Sport.
Thanks. So we're just looking for a motion to ratify our letter, please. Councillor McAvoy?
I will move that we ratify the letter of support provided for Kids Sport Bonnyville grant application to Kids Sport grants.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Next, motion to ratify a letter of support for Go East Edmonton.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yep, again, pretty self-explanatory. Kevin Kasilovich of Go East of Edmonton requested support for their 2025 Travel Alberta Rural Development and Promotion Fund application. Because this was due on October the 23rd, that letter has been issued, and we're asking the council ratify the letter of support provided to Go East of Edmonton.
Thank you. All right, just looking for a motion then to ratify that letter. Councillor Johnson?
I'll make the motion to ratify the letter of support provided to Go East of Edmonton for their Travel Alberta Rural Development Program Fund application.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Okay, next, appointment of chair for the Joint Assessment Review Board.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At the September 10th regular council meeting, council passed bylaw number 1576-24, the Joint Assessment Review Board bylaw. This bylaw states that the coordinator and partner municipalities jointly appoint a chair of the Local Assessment Review Board and the Composite Assessment Review Board annually for a one-year term. And this is to be done at the first scheduled meeting of November. The MD is the coordinator for the Joint Assessment Review Board, and at their meeting today, they appointed Councillor Fadu as to the JARB, which is the Joint Assessment Review Board, as well as appoint him as the chair to the Local and Composite Assessment Review Board. The chair's duties include providing over Joint Assessment Review Board general meetings, convening a panel from the appointed members to hear the complaint, consulting with the clerk, and other such duties as required under the Act. Administration is recommending that Council jointly appoint Councillor Fadu as the chair of the Local Assessment Review Board and Composite Assessment Review Board as appointed by the MD of Bonnyville at their regular council meeting on November 12th for a one-year term.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from council? No? All right, so we're looking for a motion to appoint Councillor Fadu. Anybody? Councillor Kushner?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would gladly make a motion that we jointly appoint Councillor Fadu.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Okay, next we've got a tax sale listing.
Thank you. The property listed on the attached spreadsheet has not paid their property taxes and is on the tax recovery arrears list. Numerous letters, reminder notices, and current tax notices have been sent to the property owner but have not resulted in payment. The outstanding taxes include amounts from 2021 to 2024 plus penalties. As the property still has tax arrears outstanding, the MGA requires that each municipality sell these properties at a public auction. Due to the advertising requirements for the auction, administration is requesting the public auction date be scheduled for March 12th, 2025 at 10:30 a.m. Prior to the auction and the advertising of the auction, the MGA states that reserve bids and conditions of sale must be set. The conditions of sale that administration is recommending include GST to be added to all successful bids, a deposit of 10% of the successful bid payable in cash, certified check, bank draft, or money order be received by 4:30 p.m. on the day of the auction. The balance of the purchase price shall be paid on or before Friday of the week of the public auction. All properties are to be sold on an as-is, where-is basis, and the municipality gives no warranty whatsoever to the adequacy of services, soil conditions, land use districting, building and development conditions, absence or presence of environmental contamination, or the ability to develop the subject land for any use proposed by the purchaser, and all sales are subject to the reserve bid and any conditions and/or reservations on the existing title. Our recommendation is that council set a reserve bid for the property as per the attached listing, conditions of sale as presented, and the public auction be held on March 12, 2025 at 10:30 a.m. at the Town Administration Office, and direct the CAO to carry out the auction on the specified date.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for administration? Councillor Kushner?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. So a deposit of 10% of the successful bid payable in blah, 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 blah. Is that then it's non-refundable at that point? Okay. It doesn't say that anywhere in here. It's just somewhere else. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Schroen?
Yes, through to administration. Has there been any two-way communication on this said property, or have they responded to any of the calls?
There's been no response. You're welcome.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Councillor McAvoy?
No, but I'll make a motion.
Okay. If there's no other questions, okay. Councillor McAvoy, go ahead.
Okay, I will move that council set a reserve bid for the property as per the attached listing conditions of sale to be as presented, and a public auction to be held March 12th, 2025 at 10:30 a.m. at the Town Administration Office, and direct the Chief Administrative Officer to carry out the auction on that specified date.
All right. Thank you. All in favor of the motion? That's carried. All right, next, funding request from Zone 2 Regional Council of the Métis Nation of Alberta. Annual talent show.
Thank you. Attached is a funding request from Zone 2 Regional Council of the Métis Nation of Alberta Association asking to support their annual talent show being held on December 26th at the C2 Centre. Funding for this event will help with the expenses to host their annual talent show. Historically, Council has approved a financial contribution to this event. This event will benefit over 300 people and local businesses. Administration is recommending that Council approve a financial contribution of $500 towards the expenses for the Zone 2 Regional Council of the Métis Nation of Alberta Association's annual Boxing Day Talent Show on December 26th at the Centennial Centre.
Okay, any questions on this request? No? Okay, we're looking for a decision. Councillor Sharon?
Just a comment before I'll make the motion. This was this function took place when I was on council before, and it was very well attended. It was at the old the GenMec building now, full house, bannock and soup, and something good to get after the Christmas blast. So if there's no other then I will move a financial contribution of $500 towards the expenses for the Zone 2 Regional Council of the Métis Nation of Alberta Association's annual Boxing Day Talent Show on December 26th at the C2.
All right, thank you. All in favor? Carried. All right, next, another request for letter of support from the U11AA Lakeland Panthers Provincial Hockey Championship bid.
Thank you, Your Worship. We have received an email from Rick Flumian from the organization requesting a letter of support for the Lakeland Panthers Under 11 AA Provincial Championship bid they're submitting on November 15th. They are submitting a bid to host the Provincial Hockey Championship from May 27th to 30th of next year, which will bring in about 15 teams from across Alberta to compete in Bonnyville. Of course, hosting this tournament will provide the community with an opportunity to highlight our sports facilities, promote local tourism, and also boost economic activity. They have a solid reputation for promoting youth development, sportsmanship, and community pride. And by supporting this bid, the town can further its encouragement for youth sports and fostering a positive impact on the economy. Our recommendation is that council provide a letter of support to the under 11 AA Lakeland Panthers to include in their bid to host the provincial championships in Bonnyville next year.
All right, thank you. Questions? Councillor Langridge?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through to administration, I didn't look at the draft of the letter, but I'm about 99% sure that this tournament would be hosted in March and not May. So I just don't want us to have it in our letter that it would, I see that their request says May, but I'm almost positive it's March. No hockey for Hockey Alberta Provincials is played past the middle of April, so.
That's a good point.
I would just make sure it's not in our letter going back, and if no one else has any questions, I would make that motion to provide the letter of support.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so then I would make the motion that council provide a letter of support to the U11 AA Lakeland Panthers to include in their bid to host the Provincial Hockey Championship in Bonnyville.
Okay, thanks. All in favor? Carried. All right, next, a funding request for the Lakeland non-emergency medical transport.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Attached is a donation request from the Lakeland Non-Emergency Medical Transport requesting funding in the amount of $3,000 to $5,000 to assist with providing essential transport services for the elderly and disabled people in the Lakeland area to help and assist them to medical appointments and hospital visits. The funds are proposed to be spent on gas, driver, and porter wages. A donation of $3,000 would provide 10 to 15 trips if all appointments were local to Bonnyville. Council has not provided funding to this group previously. The MD of Bonnyville has a similar program for their residents, and the town has been researching the possibility of implementing a program in the future for our residents. It is administration's recommendation that council deny the request for funding from Lakeland Non-Emergency Medical Transport.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on this application, on this request? Councillor Blanchette?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Not necessarily a question, but more of a comment. I would say that it's certainly no secret that transportation is a barrier for folks living in rural Alberta. So, I mean, kudos to these folks for taking the initiative to alleviate some of that stress. But with that being said, I would agree with the staff recommendation that we deny this request, at least for now. Councillor Sharoon and I were part of a meeting along with members of senior administration this summer as part of our work with FCSS. And we identified at that time that transportation was a priority and a need for our region. And it's my understanding that those conversations have continued past that meeting. I don't think it would be wise for us to support this at this time when we're in the midst of finding a more sustainable solution at a higher level. That's just my 2 cents.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Johnson?
Just one comment for me, reading in the application, when it asks non-for-profit or profit, it has profit in there. So if it is a business for profit, I wouldn't be in favor of this for sure. And I agree with Councillor Blanchette on other long-term sustainable solutions. So that's my 2 cents.
Good point. Thank you. Councillor Kushner?
Thanks, Your Worship. I do think it's needed. I think everybody around this table thinks that same way. I don't pretend to speak for everybody, but that's what kind of getting. There's also another part to this, and I think that maybe even the BRFA can use this system as well. I don't know if we can, but I know that the non-emergency medical transport, it really hurts our ambulances. They're always taking people to, not as much anymore, but they still are, to Edmonton and all these other places. And I think it would behoove everybody to, big word. I was looking in my thesaurus, yeah. To maybe come together as more than just the one group, because we're stronger as the more groups that we can get together and do something like this. But it would really take off a lot of our issues at the ambulance we don't get into that red area where we don't have ambulances here anymore. So it's something to maybe look at in a bigger scope.
Yeah, I agree. Councillor Sherwood?
I don't want to beat this to death, but just all excellent points. And the other thing I'll just say, we've probably got 10 to 15 falls at the lodge a week. So that's taking our EMS service away, because at the lodge we're not allowed to pick the residents up or help them out. So we have to call EMS, and they have to transport these patients to the hospital. They get a wellness check, they have to stay, or they go back to the lodge. So a program like this would be very beneficial to all of our entities in Bonnyville here. So yes, I do agree with Councillor Phil and Councillor Blanchette that this is needed, and they are working on it.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, so if there's no other comments, questions, Councillor McAvoy?
I will move that council deny the request for funding from Lakeland Non-Emergency Medical Trust.
All right, thank you. Any questions on the motion? No? All in favor of the motion? Carried. Okay, next, ratifying a letter of support for the Four Wing Cold Lake Award nomination.
Thank you, Your Worship. We received an email from Rob Larson of Four Wing requesting a letter of support for their application for the International Council of Air Shows Dick Schramm Memorial Community Relations Award. Now, this award, it highlights outstanding community engagement through air shows, and the Cold Lake Air Show, hosted by Four Wing, is a key event for our region. Due to the application deadline, which was October the 28th, administration, after consulting with council, did prepare and send out a letter of support. And so our recommendation to council is to ratify that letter of support sent to the International Council of Air Shows on October 25th.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? No, we're looking for a motion to ratify that letter of support then, please. Councillor Langridge.
I'll give you that motion to ratify the letter of support, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. All right, committee reports. Start with Councillor Johnson, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On October 23rd, I had an Ohana Center meeting. October 24th, I had an FCSS meeting. October 28th, over at the C2, we had a board meeting. October 29th, we had a meeting over lunch with council. October 30th, Strap Planning and Historical Society meeting, both on those days. October 31st, we served lunch at the Bonnyville Health Center and got to see their new food service cart. Pretty innovative. It's kind of like the old McDonald's McDLTs, hot side hot, cold side cold. So it's good for, oh, don't shake your head, Neil. So pretty cool. A lot of money, but it'll definitely increase the services to the patients there. November the 1st, I had a meeting as well. November the 4th, had a meeting with Bill and Elisa. November the 6th, traveled to Edmonton with Elisa, Bill, and Renee to meet with Minister Dreeshen about Highway 28 within the town limits of Bonnyville. Really good, productive conversation. Madam Mayor did a really good job of making the point about safety and traffic controls in town. And it was a very productive meeting, and I think we're going to be having some work done here, so it's good to see, and I'm looking forward to the next steps. On November the 8th, I attended the Remembrance Day ceremony at Notre Dame High. And on November 11th, I attended the Remembrance Day ceremony in Cold Lake, laying a wreath for the town of Bonnyville. Very well attended event with the military there, so it was nice to see. And then I also had an Ohana Center meeting that night as well. And that's all for me.
All righty. For myself, on October the 26th, attended the CNRL Steak and Shrimp, another great event hosted by them, and lots of local area not-for-profits were able to help them out and receive monetary contributions. So a big shout out to them for that event. On the 30th, we had strategic planning. The 31st, I was with Councillor Johnson and a few of the other councillors serving lunch over at the hospital, which was a great afternoon. On November 4th, the police committee meeting. November 5th, a library meeting. And I would also like to point out that our search was successful for a new library manager. And her first day was today, so big congratulations to our new manager, Jill Tercier, who is off and running on her first day today. So welcome to the team. And then I attended the Remembrance Day ceremony over at the Bonnyville Legion, and that is all from me.
On October 23rd, we had a Lakeland Lodge and Housing Foundation meeting. On the 26th, CNRL Steak Night. The 29th was our council lunch meeting. On the 30th was strategic planning, and on the 31st, with the rest of some council, serving lunch at the Bonnyville Health Center. Followed by, on the 6th of November, I attended the Lemming Lake Sand Project. Very interesting what else could happen here in the next 2 years. Like, it's just, everything is just building up around us, and when it happens, it'll all take place at the same time, it seems like. On the 9th, I did a walk a mile in their shoes. Was a great success. There were a lot of walkers there. Thank you to Councillor Blanchette for kind of pushing me into this. And at first, it didn't have the same impact as when I started getting some private texts on Facebook from people who lived it, walked it, and are so thankful for the stepping stones to have been able to assist them and get back on their path. So out of everything, that was the most touching and meaningful that made it all worthwhile. And again, congratulations to all the other walkers. They did a fantastic job. And to Stepping Stones for organizing it. Thank you. Oh, and on the 11th, I attended the Remembrance Day ceremonies.
Okay, thank you. All right, so for myself, October 28th, I had a C2 board meeting. October 30th, we did strat planning with council and administration. November 2nd, we had Station 5 Pay Night. I thought it was a really great event once a year to bring all our volunteer firefighters here in the town of Bonnyville for their pay night. It's a great opportunity for us to recognize all of the hard work that they've done and celebrate some of those milestones. Also a great fundraiser for the SPCA. And then on November 4th, attended the chief officers meeting for BRFA. And then on November 6th, as Councillor Johnson alluded to, the meeting that we had with Minister Dreeshen. Timely that we had a letter that we're going to talk about here coming up in regards to Highway 28 within the town, but you know, they through that letter talked about all the work that they are going to do, but we thought it was still important for us to go and have that meeting with Minister Dreeshen. I really wanted to hammer home the message that this is outside of the grander Highway 28 project. I didn't want it to get lost, and so I think that we did that very well. So I just want to thank the Chief of Staff for Minister Dreeshen, Josh Billick, administration, and council for all our hard work and continuing to send that communication out and how important it is for them to work on that project. So hopefully by what they told us that they're going to do a lot of that work coming this year. They'll be reaching out to administration here in December and work on some consultation on what that looks like. And then November 7th, 8th, and 11th, I attended some Remembrance Day ceremonies at École des Beaux-Lacs, BCHS, and over at the Legion. Thank you.
Okay, October 23rd, I was invited as a guest speaker at the Empowering Women Support Group for Stepping Stones. October 24th, an FCSS board meeting. October 26th, the CNRL fundraiser. October 30th, strategic planning session with council and administration, followed by an FCSS AA conference planning committee meeting. October 31st, I also attended the Bonnyville Health Center for their staff appreciation lunch and the unveiling of their new equipment funded by the Health Foundation. November 2nd, I volunteered with the SPCA for the BRFA Station 5 annual appreciation event. November 5th, I attended my first library board meeting. November 6th, I was invited to be a guest reader at story time at the library. It's very fun. November 9th, I attended mostly as Councillor Shroon's cheerleader at the Walk a Mile in Their Shoes event in Cold Lake, and he's being very humble. He won for raising the most pledges, so congratulations, David. And then, of course, I attended the Remembrance Day ceremony as well. That's all for me.
Okay, a lot of repeats here. I'll go quickly. On the 23rd, I attended my first lodge and housing meeting after the organizational meeting where we changed some boards and committees. On the 26th of October, I attended the Glendon Fire Department ball or gala, depending on how you look at it. Very enjoyable. It's good to see the support for them and for the programs that they participate in with the Bonnyville Regional Fire Authority. There was a fair amount of funding raised that goes back into providing fire protection within the whole region. The 30th was the strat planning. The 31st, the lunch. I became a sandwich artist at Bonnyville Health Center. And I am very impressed with the new cart system they have, and the fact that it's the first one in Alberta, and it will become hopefully the standard throughout the province. Station 5 awards and pay night, that was very enjoyable. On the 4th of November, the BRFA Chief Officers meeting, and I have to compliment our new CAO, who started that same day, to go from his first day on the job to the Chief Officers meeting. He did very well, and I have to compliment him on that. I also attended the TC Lemming Lake Open House. It was very interesting looking at what they're doing and talking to them. It's not a major, huge project, but what we keep seeing is lots of these little projects popping up all around, and that's why we see the traffic volumes and the hotel accommodations and everything else that are going on in town. So it's a lot busier around than a lot of people think it is. And then November 11th, of course, Remembrance Day. Phil?
Thank you. October 23rd, Stepping Stone Open House. Their new building is coming along, probably by next year. I think they were June or July, somewhere in that. They may be opening then, and then we get a real good open house because we're still in their old one. October 24th, a LICA meeting. October 26th, the Glendon Fall Ball for the BRFA and all the firefighters there. October 30th, strategic planning with the rest of council and administration. November 2nd, Bonnyville Station 5 pay night with the BRFA. November 4th, community policing. November 4th, again, the chief officers meeting for the BRFA. November 6th, the TC Energies that I went with a couple other councillors. And then Remembrance Day at the Legion on November 11th. And if you would indulge me, I'd like a couple kudos to go out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So one, kudos to everybody who went and met with Minister Dreeshen. I think you guys did a great job on that, and I was really impressed with what's going to be coming out of that. And the second kudos goes to my wife, Doreen, Sarah, Derek, Bruce, and Jenna, all the people who put lights up in our town for the last month and a bit. They just started being lit today, and they look fantastic from what I see. So thank you for indulging me.
Here, here. Thank you. All right. Okay, next we've got under correspondence a couple letters from MLA Scott Sear in regards to the Alberta Public Land Trails Grant Program, and then the letter from Minister of Transportation about the upgrades on Highway 28 within the town of Bonnyville. And then Appendix A, Council Receptions, Public Relations. Any questions on those correspondence letters? No? All right, so any questions now? Any questions for administration? A couple items in camera, if I can get a motion to move in camera. Councillor McAvoy.
I will make